Sir, your voice is breaking a bit.
Okay.
Your
Is
voice
it
is
breaking
breaking a
now?
bit.
Maybe I can stop
No,
my
now
video.
it's fine.
Okay,
Now
let
it's
me
fine.
stop my video. It would work better, even better. So the first step is identifying the problem. The problem solving method is like a process of many steps, and the first step is identifying the problem. After that, the next step is, as you remember, it's understanding the requirements. After you have identified the problem, what you need to do is you need to understand the requirements. Okay, after understanding the requirement, you need to do is write an algorithm. What is an algorithm? I will tell you that also. But is there anyone who knows what is an algorithm? Anyone who has heard this word before? No one? No problem. Okay. So let me give you an example of a problem, and then we are going to see all of its parts. So let's say that you are alone at home. Okay. So what is the scenario where we are alone at home and we are feeling like very hungry? We want to eat something, but there is nothing available in the fridge that is already cooked and you can just pick it up and start eating it. But there is some material available that you can transform into something to eat. For example, let's say that you have some bread, you have some patties, or you think that you can make a sandwich out of it. ठीक है जी? So first, let's see what the problem is. The problem is, we would identify the problem first. The problem is we are alone at home and there is nothing to eat. We need to cook a sandwich for us. So this is the problem, and the problem statement already has a sort of something that represents a solution here, because we have already mentioned that we need to make a sandwich. Instead of cooking, I would like to write make. We are alone at home, there is nothing to eat, and we need to make a sandwich. Now this is the problem. What is this? The problem statement. This is the problem. Now we need to go towards the solution. When we are going towards the problem solving method, the first step was to identify the problem, and you have already written that. Now the next thing is that you need to see that all the things that I need to make a sandwich, are they all there? So you would see, understand the requirements. First requirement is 2 slices of bread and a patty, some green vegetables, tomato ketchup, mayonnaise. So you need to see that if you have all these things in your fridge, if you have all these things in your fridge, you would be able to make a sandwich. So understanding the requirement is the part where you see what are the things that you need in order to solve a problem. So we had this problem that we need to make a sandwich. So we are understanding the requirements that these are the things that we need if we want to make a sandwich. Okay. After that comes the next part, which is writing an algorithm. Writing an algorithm is a very interesting part. You know what it is? If we are learning it through this example, what do you think would be writing an algorithm?
I guess so. We have to write in numbers.
We have to write the recipe.
Okay.
Recipe is an example of an algorithm. What is a specific, what is something special about a recipe? Do you know that? Something that is special about a recipe, it is that it has an order of operations. Like there is an order. You can't put a ketchup before you have toasted the bread and spread it. ठीक है, आप लोग ब्रेड को टोस्ट करने से पहले उसके ऊपर केचप नहीं लगा सकते और केचप लगाने के बाद ब्रेड को टोस्ट नहीं कर सकते. So there is a certain sequence of steps that you need to follow. Algorithm is basically like that the recipe, but written in a certain sequence, which has a starting point and an ending point. So you are going to start with the certain point. Let's say toast the bread slices first. So this algorithm can be in numbers instead of being in bullets. So the algorithm is always in numbers. It has steps and it has a sequence. So this sequence is very important. So the first part is that you toast the bread slices. The second step is that you spread the bread and put some ketchup on it. Third is put the fried patty on top of the.
Sir, I have made an algorithm before. Our teacher gave a homework to us and we made it.
You have already made it. Okay, that's a very good thing. Okay, so the fourth part here in this situation is that after you have put some ketchup on that, you would want to add some green vegetables and tomato, no, vegetables on top. Fifth part would be that after you have put that, put some mayo on it, put the other slice of bread. So this basically becomes your algorithm. So recipe becomes your algorithm. Now comes the part that we are here for, which is coding. So what do you think the coding would be in this scenario? Currently, you haven't done anything. You just have written that how I would make a sandwich. You have written the things that what are the things that I need for making a sandwich. You also have mentioned that the problem I have is I am alone at home. I want to eat something. I'm very hungry, but I don't have anything to eat. So I have to make a sandwich. So you have written this problem statement here. Then you identified that what are the things that you need if you want to make that sandwich. Fine, we did that. After that, we looked for a recipe and we listed the steps that we wanted to apply. Yes, Isaiah, you want to say something?
I think that coding will be making the sandwich.
Yes, it is exactly that. Making the sandwich is like coding. So it is basically the portion in which you are actually doing the productive work, in which you are actually making something. So coding is like the most important part of the programming, but still it is just one part of the programming. It is not the whole programming. So next step in the coding is that you are going to physically make a sandwich. But how would you make a sandwich? Making the sandwich using the recipe. Yes. So whatever algorithm you had written before, the algorithm that you had written, now you are going to follow that algorithm and make the sandwich physically that you can eat now. Fine. Now comes the last part, which is testing. Yes, Usma, you want to say something?
I think testing means to eat the sandwich, testing the sandwich, how it is.
Yes, you are exactly right. That testing would be the part where you eat the sandwich and figure out what are the things that I should do better next time. Let's say that you made a sandwich and you thought that I had put a lot of ketchup on that. So maybe the next time I would have to use a little less ketchup. Maybe when you were toasting the bread got very hard, it got very stiff. Now it is hurting your teeth or hurting your gums. So you would find that I should have toasted the bread a little soft. I should have kept it.
Sir, when you try one time, you get what mistakes you did, so you can do better next
Yes,
time.
exactly like that. So coding is important, but again, testing is also very important. So once you are done coding, so you test the code many a times again to see what are the problems that you are having. So you can next time fix the problem. Let's say we made that sandwich and we started eating it. When we started eating it, we figured out that the bread is kind of very hard for me to chew. So I would next time try to make it a little softer. Similarly, if I fried a patty and it was a little uncooked, it was little undercooked, I would get to know why eating it. So next time I would try to fix this by cooking it properly. So testing is like that portion where everything that you have done in the coding, now you are going to see that how it is working for you, and you are obviously going to improve it the next time you do it. So whatever problem you have in the coding, that you would find out in the process of testing, and during this process you are going to update your solution, update your code also, so that you can
Sir,
make a good, you can say, sandwich. Yes.
sir, you only get to know the mistakes when you're done and eating it, because अगर आप ब्रेड पे केचप लगा के फौरन खाएंगे तो आपको खाली ब्रेड और केचप का टेस्ट आएगा. A sandwich is made up of like a lot of things, वरना आपको खाली ब्रेड और केचप के mistakes पता चलेंगे. When you're done with the whole sandwich, then you identify the mistakes. You can't do like you put the bread and the ketchup, then eat it, then put the lettuce, then eat it. You can't do that.
Yes, that is exactly right. So coding or the testing can only be done once you have written the whole code, or once you have completed the problem, the solved the problem that you were trying to solve. Once that problem is solved, now you would get to know that this problem could have been solved in a different way very easily. So you can't figure out what problem is there. Okay, you can't test your code while you are still making it. You can only test it once you have completed it, and that testing would help you to understand in a better way how can you make your program, or how can you make your game sound better, look better, behave in a better way. So all these things can be done when you are doing testing. So that is it from today's lesson. Is there anything that you guys want to ask? See, I have made this presentation in which I have mentioned these steps also. The first step is identifying the problem. So what happens in the identifying the problem is that it is the first step towards programming. If you do not have a problem statement, if the problem is not defined, if it is not identified, we might not be able to solve it. Similarly, it is the process where you have to understand clearly what do you want to do. The second step is understanding the requirements. So everything that you need in order to solve that problem, that is going to be in this part, understanding requirements. So you need to understand what are the things, what are the resources that you need if you want to solve a particular problem. Next is writing an algorithm. Algorithm is a step-by-step solution to a problem. It's just like a recipe. And coding, whatever you have to do, it is basically based on the algorithm. If you will write the correct algorithm, your code would work in a correct way. And the last step is testing. Once you are done coding, you would have to test that again and again and again to find out as many problems as you can and fix them so that your program behaves in a very well-mannered way. Okay. So that is it from today's lesson. Now, the question that I told you that I would ask at the end, right? I told you that I would ask you a question at the end. So one by one, you are going to tell me one by one, what is the thing that we should learn? Should we only learn coding, or should we learn the whole programming thing? One by one. Hasnain, what do you think we should learn? Hasnain, should we learn the coding only, or should we learn the programming?
We want to learn programming
Okay.
because the coding is a part of programming.
Yes, when we will learn programming, we will learn coding as well. Yes, Mahazeb, you want to say something, bache?
Sir, I say we should learn programming because programming has coding and more things, so it's better to learn harder.
Yes, it's better to learn everything instead of just learning one thing, which is coding. Minha?
I want to learn programming, so I can also learn coding and I
Should
can
learn
also learn programming.
Yes, yes, we should learn programming. Right, we should learn that. Okay. Next is Ali Hassan. On my radar, next one is Ali Hassan. Ali Hassan, बेटा मैं क्या सीखना चाहिए? मैं प्रोग्रामिंग सीखनी चाहिए या कोडिंग सीखनी चाहिए?
कोडिंग।
हाँ, उससे क्या होगा? सिर्फ कोडिंग सीखनी चाहिए या बाकी और चीजें भी सीखनी चाहिए?
बाकी और चीज भी सीखनी चाहिए।
ठीक है, गुड. हरीम, what do you think, बेटे? So this way I'm going to get to know that all of you, if you were listening to me or not. Hareem Mohsin. Hareem, are you here with us? Okay, so the next one is Aman. Aman, आप कुछ बताएंगे बेटे?
We should learn whole programming.
We should learn whole program. You are in grade 9 or grade 10? 9, I guess.
I have promoted to 10.
You are already in 10. So you have already learned like HTML. थोड़ा बहुत तो आपको HTML
Yep.
आता है. That's good. That's good.
HTML and problem solving chapters.
Problem solving chapter भी आपने पढ़ा हुआ. That's great. तो आप बीच में यार अपना feedback क्यों नहीं देते?
वो पहले थोड़ा सी इश्यू आ रहा था मेरा, तो अब जाके वो सही हुआ है।
अच्छा, चले ठीक है.
Uh,
Aiza, what do you think, बच्चे?
We should learn programming because it includes coding as well as other things.
Great. Bilal, you want to say something, बच्चे?